I teach English at the high school. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. We're going to talk about EdPuzzle. It is a digital resource you can use. It helps you show videos to your kids. If the first week of digital learning went the same for any of you, it involved posting videos that you ask the kids to watch and then proceeding to answer 15, 20, 30 emails about the content of the video that they clearly did not watch. So to that end, EdPuzzle is a great way to kind of make sure, check in, that they're watching the videos, they're learning the content. It's a great way to do kind of a digital lecture for those of you who need to give across more information. I teach English, so I'll be showing you it from the kind of English language arts perspective today, but that's no different than any other subject. So I will show you my screen. And we'll start here with EdPuzzle. So this is what the website looks like when you join into it. You can log in with Google Classroom. So all you do is say that you're a teacher. It'll ask you to sign in with Google. And you're all the way there. This gives you access because we're in the Danbury Teachers kind of union district. This gives you all right, hold on. Muted. Wow. All right, hold on just a second.
I think you're getting an echo because people have their microphones on. Maybe we should all shut our microphones until we need to ask a question.
Perfect. Let me go run down, make sure everybody is muted. It does look muted now. Can you hear me now? Is it better, Tracy?
Yes, it's better for me.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So the thing I like about EdPuzzle is it does link you with everybody else in DHS. So you can see I can go directly to what other teachers are doing in Danbury High School. I've got 73 teachers who are using it, and I can see kind of where it's being used. ESL, adverbs, pronunciation. So it's cool to kind of be able to directly link with teachers in our district to collaborate in that way. Is a really powerful tool. But what I like about this is much of it is already created for you. So if you know something you want, so for example, I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to work on a video today about Langston Hughes. This is the video I've seen before. I can click it. And if I do that, I come down and there are 661 versions that already exist. So if I don't want to go through the time of putting my own questions in and making sure, or I don't feel like I want to reinvent the wheel, there are hundreds here that have been created with 8 questions, with 10 questions, with 13 questions. And that gives me kind of a jumping off point. It also allows me to start somewhere and kind of see what other teachers are asking. So I can click, Ashley, and she's got multiple choice questions at all these different marks. If I decide that those multiple choice questions aren't kind of what I want, maybe I decide I'm going to check in on Keith's. His are multiple choice and open-ended. So a lot of this stuff is pre-made for you. You can search any kind of content if you're trying to do, if you're trying to teach kids subtraction, a ton of stuff will come up that already has questions embedded in it for you. If you don't see something you like, you can pull from YouTube, you can pull from Khan Academy, TED Talks. You can even upload your own video. So if you go to My Content, you can just add your own video. So if you've done a video lecture or a tutorial of some kind, you can put that right in and give them access to it and embed your own questions to make sure they're following along with you. So like I said, for my demo today, we're going to use the Langston Hughes video. I want to show you a couple of things, so I am going to start over. This is Langston Hughes. It's from the kind of series that John Green hosts. So he does a ton of historical and literary kind of content videos. And so there's John Green. And this video is about 11 minutes long. I went through and I realized I didn't want all 11 minutes. So once you've picked a video you like, you've watched, please be aware you will be watching the video a bajillion times. When you've done that, though, you can just click Edit. You've picked the video you want, and now you can crop the video for as long or as little as you want. So if it's a longer video and you want the kids to learn it in segments, you can do that. For my purposes, I was watching this video and realized that at about halfway through, he actually starts talking about poems that are in our curriculum. So for my purposes, it doesn't actually do me all that well to have him, discuss the poems before I give them to the kids. So to that end, I am going to kind of scroll through here a little bit. If you know the exact timestamp, you can just type it in here. So if we're looking for 5:50 instead of 5:51, it'll put that right there. And then when you're good to go, you just hit Add Cut. It cuts the video in half. So this is the half I want. This is the half I don't. So all I'm going to do is drag it away. And my new video is only about 5 minutes and 50 seconds long. I think that's a little bit better for my students' attention span. It also kind of covers the stuff that I think they're going to be able to acknowledge and focus on as this kind of introductory unit. So once I've done that, I can do a number of things to kind of edit it for my students. The first thing you can do is you can put a voiceover in. And it even tells you, right, why add a voiceover? If you want to replace the existing audio, if they're walking through something like Khan Academy and you want to explain something, math, science, that might be a really awesome tool for you. For my purpose, I want John Green's audio, so I'm going to leave that right there. And instead, I'm going to go to adding questions. So there are 3 types of questions you can embed. And I guess 2 of them are questions and 1 of them is a note. So this is just a kind of, hey, here's what we've learned, or here's what you need to focus on. It's a note for clarification. You can put definitions and stuff like that in for them. But that doesn't require them to do anything.
Interested in white.
The other 2, open-ended and multiple choice, both require the kids to respond. So as an example, I'm going to look at about the 4-minute mark here. And Mr. Green is going to talk about a couple of authors that they've already read.
Dunbar, and also people like Carl Sandburg and Walt Whitman.
So Carl Sandburg and Walt Whitman are people we've already covered in our unit. So I'm going to just put a note here that says, remember earlier in the year, you've already read a lot of these authors. And that's just going to go in there.
Who wrote?
So at which point they hit that point in the video, this is just going to pop up. It'll access a little bit of their prior knowledge. And as the teacher, you get kind of a rundown of all the stuff that happens in the corner. Okay. I am sure yes, you can do Screencastify. That's a video, so it does need to be a video file. But sorry, I just wanted to check the chat real quick fast. Yes, it is a video file, so you can absolutely upload a Screencastify. If you record your audio, does it do it over the existing audio? You can pause and add comments for sure, but yes, if you record your own audio, it will go over the existing audio. So if you'd like to record your own thought, you can add another note, and there is a microphone here. You can put your thought in. If you do the voiceover, it will go over the video's audio. So that may not be what you're looking for. It will replace the existing audio. And so that's probably not ideal unless you don't want any part of that previous audio. And is it possible to see EdPuzzle from another school, or can you look up specific teachers? I do believe you can look up specific teachers. I don't know how much access you'll have to other schools. When you create your account, it says, like, what school are you at? And so I put Danbury High School, and that's how it decided who I get to see. There may just be a Danbury Public Schools option. So you may be able to do that and kind of look across the middle and high school kind of break there. So that's definitely something we can look at. Is there a limit to the number of videos you can create? It does limit you to 20 at a time. So you can have 20 stored. Once you do that, you can go back and delete the old ones. Where does the information get saved to? It gets saved to EdPuzzle. So it's not going back to YouTube. It's not going back to anywhere like that. It gets saved in EdPuzzle's database, and you can decide whether or not you want your video to be live or accessible to other teachers or just to yourself. And is there an elementary option? It works the same regardless. You can just choose elementary videos. So you may have kids who are answering questions about what a noun is or something smaller. And you may decide to make more of a multiple choice, but it's essentially the same kind of video. So what it's doing is it's inputting these kind of questions into the video so that the kids have kind of checkpoints. They don't zone out or go do something else for the 6 minutes I'm asking them to do that. So for example, at 18 seconds, I may go, and he mentions 3 ways.
Anything to do with that Renaissance?
Okay, so we're going to stop there for a second. He mentions 3 things that the Harlem Renaissance was exploring. So I might say, what is the Harlem? What is this movement designed to explore? And so then I can say African American culture, what it means to be an American, or both, right? And so then I can change. So yes, that's the answer. No, that's not the answer. This will automatically grade. It'll pop up like this. The students are required to click something before they hit continue, and this will automatically grade itself. The options, Donald, I don't know if they'll be able to access this. I believe so, but it'll depend on how the block is put in. If the block is put in for a YouTube URL, it'll work just fine. If it's put in for some sort of video, it will not. And can you find your old EdPuzzles again after you reach 20? I don't know. I haven't ever used 20 to kind of go back and see. It does give an option to add more space. So I don't know if that's a district option or if it's a personal kind of option, but it did say, you have created 4 of your 20. Do you want to add more space? But the nice thing is, for me at least, and for the upper levels, I teach 4 sections of English 3, which is what I'd use this video for. I can put them all on this one video. I don't have to make separate ones for them. So there are multiple choice questions. There are notes, right, that we've seen. The other option that you can do, and we can just pretend to put it in right here, right, is an open-ended question. And you could say something like, what do you expect to hear in these poems, right? I can put anything I'd like and save that. Again, this will not grade itself. This is up to you, right? Feedback will be displayed. So you do have the option to give a feedback. So once they put it in, you could kind of put the correct answer in. It won't grade itself, but it will pop up and encourage the students to kind of get the right answer, even if they didn't originally. And all of the video events, all of the things I've put in so far are here. There doesn't appear to be a limit in the number of things you can put in a video. So if you needed to put one every 30 seconds, you could do that. When you're done, you just push finish. The video is ready to go. It's got the 3 marks in it. This is the to-do list for the students. And then you can assign it to them. So I can assign it to my test class, which I made for today. I can assign it to all, or I can assign it to just some of my students. I can put a due date on it. So I'm going to make it due Friday. Friday, save. And then this is my favorite button. So it prevents skipping. Students cannot, if this is on, just go ahead to the next question. They are required to watch the video in its entirety. This is, I found, a very powerful tool to make sure they don't just assume they know something. You can obviously turn it on and off depending on which students you're assigning it to. But I really, really like this feature just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You can also turn on and off closed captions. And you can assign it right like that. When you do that, you can go into your gradebook and you can see assignments, right? Let's start today and move forward. Start today and move forward. All right, and it'll show you their grades when they're done. While they're working on it, you can also see the turn in the My Class option. So 0 of 0 have turned it in. And when I go in to watch it, right, I can see how many have gotten each question correct. I can also, if I were to start watching it as the teacher, just to give you kind of
Hi, I'm John
example.
Green. This is Crash Course Literature, and today we're going to discuss the
I see, so it's locked from them moving forward. This is kind of the student view. They have to move through it at a certain thing. They can stop and go back. So if I go to my classes now, you can see that one person has started working on it. They got 0% of the way through, and they have not yet turned it in. So you have all this data to make sure you can see kind of where the student progress is. It's not just did they do it or did they not. Oh, yeah, you can sign up for my test class, Tracy. How do the students turn it in? Do you see the responses at the end? So it goes through. So to create a class, you just hit invite students. All you do is go to EdPuzzle and invite that, or you can put the link on your Google Classroom. And I believe this is how you'd assign it. So you would assign it through this link. You wouldn't necessarily be able to have it automatically send to Google Classroom, but most of my Google Classrooms end up, having links throughout their assignments each day anyway. So the link may be a good way to kind of make sure they go directly to the exact right video that you're looking for. I'll leave that up there for another minute or two if you're at all interested in joining the test class. It's a pretty cool feature. It kind of takes the video and worksheet that you may assign students and puts it all into one. It does, like a Google form, grade the multiple choice for you, which is nice. It kind of gives you the questions as they're going. So again, right, if I can come in here and I can click the actual watched percentage, and I can see that 0% have watched the video. So far, nobody has answered any questions, and I haven't gotten either of them right. And this is the number of times students watched each section. So if they're noticing that they're getting this question wrong, they could go back and watch this section 2, 3, 4 times, and it'll tell you kind of which sections they're focusing on or which sections they were confused about. So I haven't answered this question yet. I haven't answered this question yet, but that's all based on the student. Oh, you have a teacher account already. Okay. So that's what EdPuzzle looks like from your kind of perspective. You can have like I said, you'll have the gradebook, so I can see total score, how much time they spent on it, and just a check mark that that's the video that they watched and the score that they got for that. You can export it. It becomes an Excel file or a CSV file if that's easier for you to use. And like I said, there's content for everything. People asked it about elementary school, so you could do, ABCs. And there's the ABC Disco. There's ABC Songs in 30 Minutes, and pretty much anything you can find on YouTube. Danbury High School, 73 teachers in Danbury High School. I can also go to more subject areas. So if I knew I was teaching health, for example, I could see if any Danbury High School health teachers had put anything in. Doesn't look like it yet. But I know there's plenty in maybe world languages, right? So I can see people who have made these for world languages. They have 17 questions or comments. This one just has 2. So I can go in and see a lot of kind of what exists. If you put content, it'll give you kind of a curriculum, provided work to work by hundreds of teachers. It's not aligned with our curriculum, but it may kind of give you a jumping off point if you're not quite sure what you maybe want to assign. Like I said, Khan Academy videos are loaded in here. TED Talks are loaded right in here. And Crash Course, which is the company that I was using my video from, right in here. And they do everything from the Odyssey to the Heart to World War I, all sorts of things you can find. To add a class, I don't think I did this part. So I can create a new class. I can also go from Google Classroom and pull which classes I want to pull in. So I could pull in my data teams. I could also pull in any of my other classes and just import them like that. So the rosters are in, the students are in and ready to go. I'm not going to do that right this second because they'll freak out if they get notifications out of order. I can see assignments with due dates, past due dates, any of that kind of thing. I'm going to stop presenting for just a second. Questions? Questions, thoughts? I don't believe you can pull clips from Netflix directly. So I'm teaching Gatsby, and I know there are lots of movie clips on YouTube. I use those. Pulling clips from Netflix would be problematic because you'd first have to download the clip and make it your own file, and I'm sure there's pirating issues involved in that. But anything that's on YouTube, absolutely. Good. Yeah, you can pull in separate classes. but you can assign to multiple. So when you saw me assign just to the one test class, you can assign to as many classes as you'd like. So I might assign it to all my English 3s or just my English 2 or whatever I wanted to do. Absolutely. Good. I hope it was helpful. If you have questions, let me know. Like I said, it's a pretty easy tool to get used to. Minor video editing skills. A translation option. So I haven't found a translation option in the video. You can turn on closed captioning if that's helpful. Otherwise, you may be able to find a video in Spanish since you have access to all of YouTube, or in Portuguese for that option. Students do need to be registered with EdPuzzle, so that is why we got it approved by the district. It will actually ask you that when you start to make classes. They do need to be registered, not in order to access the material. They can access the material without being registered, but in order for you to see their feedback. So in order for you to see them answering the questions and getting the answers right, you do need them to do that. I believe it's an invite they need to accept when they go into Google Classroom. They've updated that a little bit since the last time I've used it. But yeah, all they'll need to do is click the link. It'll say, you know, you've been added to EdPuzzle, and they'll go in and they may have to say like what grade they are or something like that. But it should all just import from Google Classroom. Google's making this process very easy for us. 10:21, 10:21. When you view completed EdPuzzles, it no longer allows me to see student answers, only the gradebook list of grades. I'm not sure if I had seen all the open-ended questions. Oh, so it only lets you go back and see the overall grades. It should, in Gradebook, there are options for you to change the date. So it's likely, right, if I say last month to or last 90 days, that may give you better access to their scores, or to go in and kind of check to make sure that all of their questions had been answered. That would be my biggest suggestion, is to check that piece. Participation rate, I've seen this used at the middle school and the high school, and I've had a pretty good success with it. The kids like videos, so that helps a lot. And it gives them kind of chunking very clear pieces. It makes it a lot easier than having to open multiple documents or write something down. So I have seen pretty good participation rates. Now, sometimes I get complaints about the types of videos. Maybe they talk too fast, maybe that kind of thing. Oh, at the elementary level, you're still not allowed to use any format that requires students to submit an email address. So I believe it does. I believe it will link with your Google Classroom. So they wouldn't have to submit it, but it would be submitted, if that makes sense. So you can check that. I know it has been approved by the district, at least at a couple of levels, this tool. So you can see kind of how it goes. Same things apply. They could still view your video and your questions, but if they don't make an account, you can't see their responses. So you can kind of play with that in that way. Yeah, you absolutely could. So it may be kind of double the work for you, but you could absolutely make an EdPuzzle in a Google form, especially for the elementary level where maybe they're not allowed to collect email addresses and that kind of thing. Absolutely. Great for review, great for kind of opening a unit. That's what I'm going to end up doing with it after spring break. Other thoughts or questions, concerns? I hope this was helpful. Good, I'm glad. I will put my my email here. If you need help or you get stuck, I'm happy to help. I'm also listed in the Google super users document that got passed out a couple of weeks ago. So anything you need, I'm happy to help out with. Hope you have a fabulous second week of digital learning and enjoy your spring break, which we now all might need again.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye, Tracy. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
All right. I have to figure out.